Hello, friends, and welcome to the very first episode of Turn the Paige. This project has been months in the making, and if you know me or have followed me for a while, you know that my passions have evolved over time. And if you are just joining the party, then you will catch on to that very quickly. Trust me. But I'm so grateful to finally be here, to finally sit my ass in this chair, record this podcast, and be able to share my story with you. So without further ado, let's dive in. In this episode, we are going to talk about how we got here, what you can expect from future episodes, and I'll give you a little insight into my journey, the whirlwind of the last 10 years, because it's been a doozy, let me tell you. So yeah, sit back, enjoy, and let's spill some tea. So where it all began. Back in 2018, I started a blog for the very first time, and it was called Wine, W-I-N-E, like a mother. And I just recently went back and read some of the blogs that I wrote at that point in my life when I first started this journey. And oh my gosh, they were hilarious. Like, I read them and was so proud of myself because they were super witty, they were super funny, but also knowing myself as well as I do, I was able to kind of see through the cracks of all of the things that I wrote at that point in time. So much of it was very surface level, and so much of it was very much me in survival mode. I was projecting all of my insecurities through humor, which is something that I do often. But yeah, I enjoyed reading them, of course, because I appreciate every version of myself. But it also made me really see how far I've come in this journey and how much I have evolved. My writing has evolved. My story itself has evolved. And so as much as I appreciate first that first start, that first leap into sharing bits of myself in a vulnerable way, because even if it was surface level, it was still vulnerable. And even though I was trying to mask my insecurities behind humor, it was still brave for me to do that at all. So, Wine Like a Mother, she was real great, but she wasn't the nitty gritty. She wasn't the whole piece. But yeah, 2018, this entire journey started. And again, even though I projected so much outwardly, inside, I felt so alone and I felt so broken. And that led me into 2021, where I really began my healing journey and I navigated significant depression. I had battled with depression before in my life, but never to the significance of what I did in 2021. And I'll do like an entire episode about that and go into my experience with it. But I started to change. My life started to crumble. I completely crumbled physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And from that, I found a way to once again use my writing as a form of therapy. And I transitioned Wine Like a Mother into Healing Spaces. And Healing Spaces was this beautiful, beautiful space where I would write almost every single day on this blog. I would write almost every single day something or share something because it gave me purpose in the darkest moments of my life. It gave me something to hold on to, and it also gave me a bit of validation while I was going through it. But that's all Healing Spaces was this very deep, therapeutic, serious, process of writing and sharing and talking about what it was that I was going through, but also like not even understanding it to its fullest extent. And I'm so proud of myself again, like, just like celebrating all of these phases, all of these chapters, if you will. But I'm so proud of myself for holding on to this gift that I had, this gift of writing, this gift of sharing while I was in such a dark place. Because, yeah, it was a very, very interesting season of life. And Healing Spaces was one of those golden nuggets for me that allowed me to really hold on to something. Like I said, hold on to purpose. And through that whole experience is when I had my birth chart read for the first time for all of my astrology buffs out there. And I fell in love with this ancient wisdom and this tool that allowed me to feel fully seen for the first time in my life. And as that continued, it led me to get certified myself in astrology and start to study this, again, this tool that allowed me to really feel seen for the first time in my entire life and feel understood. So once again, we evolved from Healing Spaces to the Cosmic Flame. And the Cosmic Flame was my deep dive into astrology. It was this notion that I was going to become an astrologer and I was going to be able to do it virtually online, and that was going to be my job. And I was like all in. I dove in head first and was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be it. And it was so interesting because I got to the end of last year and I was like constantly praying for a way to bring all of these parts of me together. And I had a client who's become a dear, dear friend of mine because I also, if you're new around here, I also have been working as a hairstylist for the last almost 16 years, which is crazy to think about. But I have a hair client who's become a dear, dear friend. And while I was in the phase of the Cosmic Flame, she was like, it's so interesting to me to read your writing because it's so deep and it's so beautiful. And that's great. But also, when I come in here, we talk about very deep things and it's great and it's beautiful. But you're so charismatic and you're so funny that she's like, I laugh just as much as like I want to cry sometimes. And when she said that to me, it was like the first little seed being planted that the Cosmic Flame just promoting astrology was not the complete picture. And I'm so grateful for that because at first I was like, huh, interesting. And then it's just stuck with me and it kept coming up and I kept thinking about it. And I was like, all right, how can I bring all of my passions and all of the pieces of me together into one space? And to be honest, I didn't get here on my own. It was complete divine intervention that brought me this idea, that brought me the name of this podcast. But yeah, it was exactly what I needed at exactly the right time. And isn't that just the way the universe fucking works? So here we are, Turn the Paige podcast, a space where all of my passions come together and all of the parts of my personality can shine. But in all seriousness, this is a place that can fully embody who I am, my writing, the books that I read, the books that I write, astrology, my journey, my story, my connection with other people and other people's stories. It's a way for me to use my voice and share my deep well of wisdom as well as my charming disposition. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it together here, guys. But so yeah, like I'm just again once again, so proud of the journey. Once again, so proud that we got here. Once again, so proud that I overcame the resistance that I had to actually sit down and record and then listen to myself. And I'm excited. I'm excited about what this podcast is. I'm excited about what this podcast stands for and represents in my life and what I believe that it can give to every single person that listens to it. And my goal is to have weekly episodes. Share Your Story episodes will be episodes that are going to be filled with personal stories, lessons that I've learned, deep conversations that I've shared with the people who sit in my chair, or the people I've met along my healing journey, or the people that are in my life that have also had just such interesting experiences. And as I dive into more of what that means to me, being able to express how I've navigated my experiences of marriage and divorce, going through that in my 20s twice, mind you, becoming a mother at 20 years old and then again at 27, and the ways in which raising a teenager and a 5-year-old has challenged me and pushed me to grow and to be a better version of myself, but also how I've navigated co-parenting, entrepreneurship, depression, anxiety, grief, heartbreak. Also, I am getting ready to finish a certification for a holistic health coach program. And that lifestyle and how I've transitioned here in small town America to really trying to live a holistic life, because it is not easy or cheap. But yeah, it really has changed my entire life, as well as being alcohol free and getting up every day to meditate and believing in oracle cards and spirituality in a way that is very broad and vast and different than so many people that I grew up with and around. And instead of hiding these parts of myself, I want to share them with all of you. I want to share them with other people in a way that can be understood, and so that people can take maybe some of these tools that I've used and I've integrated into my life and use them in theirs, so that they can feel closer to who they truly are, so that they can feel closer to God, so that they can feel less shame about their story and more empowered in every single piece of it, in every single part, in every single chapter. And sometimes I like to say the universe crammed a lifetime of lessons into a single decade just so I'd have something to share and the humility to do it well. Because let me tell you, when you go through shit in life, it will humble you. And it is only when you can be humbled by life, when you allow it to bring you to your knees and you allow it to shift your perspective, that you can connect with other people. When you have that humility, when you have that perspective, when you've been on the other side of so many of these things, like so many of us have, and you're able to own it, I am telling you, there is nothing like being able to share with or connect with another person, another human on this planet, because you share a same experience, or you share a same pattern, or you share a same emotional wreckage, emotional baggage, whatever you want to call it. But when you can find something within another person's story that you resonate with and you can connect with them through it, it's a big piece of what this life is all about. Because without that, like, what's the point? What's the point? Another goal of mine throughout all of this in the Share Your Story episodes is to bring other people on here and have guest interviews, because I'm a firm believer in the power of storytelling. And I want to create a space where others can share their experience, because no matter where we are in life, every story has the power to change a little piece of the world. It doesn't matter how big or small your life has been. It doesn't matter how big or little impact you feel you have made on those around you. Every person's story matters. The ripple effect of who you are and how you show up and what you have done and what you have created within this life matters, because we all matter. We all matter. And the biggest part in all of this is that we have to just be willing to share it. And that is what I want to do, is for this to be a space, a safe space for me to share my story and for other people to be able to share theirs. So that is the gist on the Share Your Story episodes. And like I said, the goal in entirety is to release an episode once a week. The Share Your Story episodes will be released bi-weekly. And on the other weeks, we will have episodes that'll be called Book Club Fridays, because one of my favorite things in the world is books. I have been a book nerd since I was a little kid. Thank you, Sherry, my mother, who also is a massive bookworm. Tell that to her 600 book library in the basement that all of us ladies appreciate to borrow from. But yeah, on Book Club Friday episodes, I am going to rate, review, and discuss the books that I have been reading, and also share little tidbits about the ones that I am writing. Yes, I have been writing some smut, my friends, and it is so fucking fun. I have written a 3-book romance series that I am in the process of editing, and I have started on I'm not sure if it's going to be a standalone. It might end up being 2 books, but an entirely another series that has just been so fun for me to be able to use my creativity, for me to be able to embark on something new and so out of my comfort zone, as well as like adding a little spice and romance into my life, because your girl is single and happily, but it's like shake things up a little bit um, for my characters, not for me. So I'm also going to dive in on the process of what it's been like to edit those books and explore self-publishing. So yay rah. For all the writers out there, maybe you'll learn something. For all the readers out there, maybe you will add some books to your TBR. But yeah, this portion of the podcast was inspired by my love for books. And it literally started at such a young age. Shout out to Junie B. Jones. I will never forget when she actually visited our school when I was in elementary. And it was fantastic. She was great. I loved her and I loved her stories. And then I fell in love with romance novels with Sarah Dessen. I mean, come on. She is probably one of the first writers that I remember reading her stories and like remembered her name. We can remember all of these books that we read as kids, but like if you don't remember the author, no. I remember Sarah Dessen. I remember the cover of the book of that summer, and I'm really sad that I don't have it anymore. I'm also really sad that my teen is a mystery novel reader, and she's not really into romance, but that's okay. There is time. Hopefully, maybe someday we will be able to relate to each other on the book front. But it's still fun to be able to talk books with her, and super exciting. She's currently reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So maybe I'll even have her come and do a rate and review of that book or that series, because she got the whole set for Christmas. All right. Anyways, I digress. But we are going to talk about romance novels, of course. Hello, smut girlies. Memoirs, because I've been on a huge memoir kick lately, and it has been so fun and interesting. And yeah, it just gives me a deeper appreciation for people and how, even though like, especially celebrities, because I mean like mainly the memoirs I read are celebrity memoirs, how we can relate to their lives and their stories, and how even though we have a tendency to put celebrities on a pedestal, they are so human, and they go through so much living the life that they live. So yeah, it just makes it be able to relate to them so much more. I also read a lot of self-development books. Or I listen. I've been doing a lot of audio. I've been listening to a lot of audio self-development books. I read poetry, astrology books, and then sometimes some like random hidden gems that are recommended to me or that I find along the way. I have a very intuitive process when it comes to picking out the books that I'm going to read. So I'll explain more about that in our first Book Club Friday episode. But yeah, it's super fun and I'm super excited. So the goal is to have 2 episodes of Share Your Story episodes a month and 2 Book Club Friday episodes a month. So fingers crossed. That's the goal. That's the intention. That's what we're putting out into the universe. But also, as a writer, I love uncovering the why behind an author's words, or why they choose a certain arc for a character or a certain trope for a couple, and what emotions that they want to evoke and how their characters evolve over time, and what parts of their life have inspired these characters or inspired these stories. And I feel like that makes it so much more meaningful when you're reading, when you're writing, when you're talking about it with your friends. And yeah, I just love to get down to the nitty-gritty. And so I think a big question that I had to ask myself before I started this new project was, what is my why? What is my mission here? What foundation do I want to build this podcast on? And honestly, my life has been a series of starting over and over and over. A turning of the page, if you will. See what I did there? Um Okay, I can't with myself. And I just want to share that journey with you. I share it, and I have shared it with the clients that sit in my chair on a regular basis. And it has been such a beautiful way for me to connect with the people in my community and to be a safe space for them and for them to be a safe space for me. And I just wanted to share that. I wanted that impact to maybe grow a little bit and allow this to be a space where we unpack life, and we do it with emotional intelligence and some uncontrollable laughter and maybe some cheesy puns and inappropriate jokes along the way, as well as, again, Mom, I'm sorry, some curse words. I just can't help myself. They slip out and they just make everything funnier. But again, the real moral of this story is that I want this to be a space of service for anyone who might feel a little lost, or who's trying to figure out who they are or what comes next, who wants to find a place that feels like home, that can resonate with something that they are going through or that they have been going through, or something that may just randomly pop up in their life that they never saw coming. And I want this to be a space where voices are heard and stories are told and life is lived so authentically that you can't help but just still appreciate it and be grateful for it and be fucking happy, even if you're having a shit day. And no matter how uncertain life may seem, still find a space that gives you hope, that makes you feel warm, that makes you feel loved, that makes you feel like you are not alone in this world at all, ever. So I'm excited for us to start this journey together. And it's not going to be perfect. I am reminding myself of that because, I have a tendency to overthink and self-doubt and resist and get in my own way. So, yeah, it's not going to be perfect. It's probably going to be a little bit messy, and I'm going to learn all about how to podcast and edit and share and stay consistent along the way. And I'm just so grateful to have any of you along for this ride with me. So thank you. Thank you for coming along on this adventure. And I want you to remember at the end of the day, you are the author of your own story. And I am honored to have you here as I write another chapter of mine. So, as we close out this very first episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Come say hello to me over on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I can't promise you that I will be super active on TikTok, but I'm really going to try. I'm really going to try. Instagram is my bread and butter. So if you really, really want to get through, you really want to talk to me, Instagram is your go-to. And I am at Turn the Paige Pod on all 3 of those platforms. So until next time, party people, I love you. Thank you. And good night.